2024. Welcome to August, and welcome to one of the biggest second weekends of all time. They're calling it as the 8th biggest ever for Deadpool and Wolverine, number one once again, with another $97 million. I will tell you how close I was with my predictions that I made last week, right after this LCJ Live, actually during LCJ Live, and then I posted them on social media right afterwards, of how close I was with some of the big movies for this weekend. Top 5-ish, top 6. We'll get into all of that here coming up on LCJ Live. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here. I've got here with me Miss Fritter from the Cars franchise. Remember Cars 3 and the giant school bus? Because I cannot stand all of these back-to-school ads. And I know some kids are going back to school in other parts of the country than upstate New York earlier than when the kids go back here, which is just after Labor Day. But it is crazy to me. All of these back-to-school ads that started basically July 5th, they have to stop. All of these back-to-school ads have to stop. You gotta let kids have their summer vacation, summertime, when you get to go to the drive-ins, you get to go to the movies, you get to have fun outside before getting back into the education system. So please stop with all the back-to-school ads. Anyway, Deadpool and Wolverine made another $97 million. If you've got questions or comments, you're watching here live on YouTube, thank you. And subscribe to the channel, of course. Send them in. I'll take a look at your comments here. What happened with Trap? What happened with Harold and the Purple Crayon? Let me break down what my predictions were and how things ended up. So last week I predicted that Deadpool and Wolverine would have a second weekend of $100 million. It does 97, just a little less. Twisters I predicted would come in second with $20 million. It's in second place this weekend with 22.7. So right now when you look at these movies, we are even. Then Trap, M. Night Shyamalan's new film, which I like. I even think the second half isn't awful. But I really enjoyed the first half. The first half of Trap is among the best work of his career. I predicted Trap would only do $12 million because the Shyamalan movies haven't made a lot of money lately. And I thought with not screening it for critics in advance, the buzz wasn't that great. Ended up being a better movie. Ended up making a little bit better than that $12 million prediction of 15.6. Now, coming off of the Thursday night previews at 2.2, this could have had a run at $20 million, but the word of mouth is not spectacular. So 15.6, a little better than I thought it was going to do for Trap. Fanimator 101, we're officially a month away from Transformers 1 and Wild Robot. Can't wait. They are both coming out in September, both animated features. We'll talk about the animation and family situations here in just a second as I transition to Despicable Me 4, which I said was going to do another $8 million. It ends up doing 11.3 this weekend, which is very strong. Only had a small drop. In fifth this weekend turns out to be Inside Out 2, which made 6.7 million as it keeps breaking records and is just 10 million away from passing Barbie at the domestic box office. But a film I thought was going to do much better than it did, Harold and the Purple Crayon, only with $6 million this weekend. That is a disappointment for Sony. I thought it was going to do 10 million. So when you add up the 5 movies, I'm not counting Inside Out 2 because I thought Harold was getting in that top 5. Deadpool, Twisters, Trap, Despicable Me, and Harold, I predicted they would do 150 million combined this weekend, and they end up doing 152.6. So I was only off by $2.6 million. If I did the math correctly, which I think I did a little while ago, that is not bad at all for me only being off by 2.6 million. That basically is that Twisters 2.7. That's what did it, that increase there. Otherwise, even when you look at all the money. So I'll pat myself on the back a little bit for that. Pretty good. But what happened with Harold and the Purple Crayon, which I think is a better movie than some of the other recent Sony live-action animation family combos like Lyle Lyle Crocodile and Peter Rabbit 2 The Runaway. This is a better movie than those, especially for the target audience of 6 to 10-year-olds. So if you're interested in going to Harold and the Purple Crayon, I say go see it now because it could be out of many theaters in the country in about a week and a half. Pete Crooks Lights, where's your Long Legs review? Yeah, I haven't seen Long Legs yet. Haven't seen some other movies. I'll catch up with it at some point. I got a bunch of other movies to check out. This week I'll be seeing It Ends With Us and some other films. I watched Kensuke's Kingdom last night, which is an animated film coming out in October. I saw Trap the other day. Watched some other movies recently. So, yeah, catching up on some stuff. Usually every year when we get close to award season, there's one or two, maybe three movies I haven't seen yet that I got to catch up on for looking at votes or looking at potential options of what could be some of the big players and contenders. As it turns out, Longlegs will probably end up being one of those. You know what I did watch the other night? The Instigators. That's terrible. Oh my gosh. That could end up on my 5 worst movies of the year list. The new Matt Damon Casey Affleck film on Apple TV Plus this Friday. It's in select theaters now. Oh my gosh, it is really rough. Not funny, terrible story, cartoony characters, ridiculous situations. Doug Liman, I used to like his movies. Edge of Tomorrow, American Made, both great collaborations with Tom Cruise. Edge of Tomorrow made my 10 best list for that year. I think American Made either did or was pretty close. Great films. But boy, the last 3 he's done. Chaos Walking, which was a mess in production to begin with and delays. And then the Roadhouse film from earlier this year, that was a dud. And this is just embarrassing for everyone involved. Matt Damon cannot play a dopey character well. He cannot. And so that's a huge problem with The Instigators, which has a ton of problems. I do not recommend it. It's on Apple Friday. I don't recommend it. I want to get back to Trap for a minute. This 15-6, which is a 3rd place open compared to a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies that open at number 1. Now, After Earth, if you remember, opened, I believe, in number 3, behind Now You See Me, which did more than expected, and some other movies that were out around that time, the Fast and Furious 6. But, so we're back in 3rd place for M. Night Shyamalan, and this is right in between his last 2 opening weekends, both number 1s for him. Old in July of 21, which opened to 16.9, totaled 48.3. And then last year's Knock at the Cabin, which was rated R, opened to 14.1, totaled just 35.4. The first half of Trap is the best work he's done in a long time. And then I would say Old and Split are next in line for me in terms of the last 15 years of Shyamalan. Then probably the second half of this, and then I didn't care for Knock at the Cabin at all. Glass is pretty bad. The Visit's so-so. It's not bad. It's not bad. It has its moments. It was the start of his comeback. Of course, right before that, Shyamalan had The Last Airbender and After Earth, which were both terrible. So he's been hit and miss, and I think this is a good one, and I think you should go see it. But the buzz and the reaction has not been spectacular for Trap. By the way, Deadpool and Wolverine is at $824 million worldwide. And when it comes to Harold and the Purple Crayon, look, Lyle Loud Crocodile, $11 million open, 11.4, totaled 46.9. Peter Rabbit 2, 10.1 million open, totaled 40.4 million. Peter Rabbit 2 didn't do nearly as well as the first Peter Rabbit. And Lyle Loud Crocodile had some decent legs over the next several weeks. Same with Peter Rabbit. If Harold performs with the same kind of legs that Lyle and Peter Rabbit had, then you're going to make a run at $25 million. But I just don't know at this point because $6 million is such a distance away from 10 and 11. And families seem to be attracted to multiple showings of Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me 4. They'd rather go see them another time than go see Harold for the first time. Then this may not get past 15 million total, which Sony's going to consider a major disappointment. For families for the rest of the summer, you've got My Penguin Friend, which I have seen already. I saw it a few weeks ago, and it comes out on August 16. I'll have my thoughts on it. I'll be able to share starting next Monday, August 12. It's roadside attractions, not a huge studio. It'll make a little bit of money, maybe try to get to 2 or 3 million for the opening weekend, as long as people know that it exists. So I don't think it even does the numbers that Harold did this weekend, but some families may go to that. It's a film that's inspired by a true story about this guy and a penguin. There will be some families who love penguin movies, going all the way back to March of the Penguins and the Madagascar movies, and Happy Feet. Happy Feet 2 was a flop. I didn't care for either Happy Feet film. Cars should have won the Oscar, as we all know, over Happy Feet. But families love penguin stories, so maybe this surprises and actually overperforms. We'll see. But that's it for real family options until you get to, as we just mentioned earlier, Transformers 1 September 20 and The Wild Robot September 27. Does that mean Harold has small drops? Does that mean that Despicable Me 4 and Inside Out 2 continue delivering and having small drops all the way through September 19, basically? We'll have to see. But at this point, I do think Despicable Me 4, which is up to $314 million, is going to pass Oppenheimer, which made just shy of 330, to become one of the 10 biggest Universal Pictures movies of the 21st century. It's going to happen. And we'll see if it comes close to some of the other Despicable Me Minions movies, which did around 370. Still a bit of a ways away, but I do think it will pass Oppenheimer and get on that top 10 list. Interestingly, Deadpool and Wolverine has a total of 395.6. Twisters has a total of 195.6. So a $200 million gap already between Deadpool and Wolverine and Twisters. Though Twisters passes Kung Fu Panda 4 to become the second biggest Universal movie of the year behind Despicable Me 4. It will not pass Despicable Me 4. But Twisters right now, the runner-up for the year for Universal, will definitely get past 200 million. We'll see if it comes close to 250. Long Legs added 4.1 million this weekend. It's at 66.9, the biggest film ever for Neon. Currently in 8th is A Quiet Place Day 1, which added 1.4 million. It's at 137.4. The thing about A Quiet Place Day 1, as I just posted earlier across my social media platforms, it's about 14% behind A Quiet Place Part 2, which was a 14% drop from the first Quiet Place. So if the pattern continues and if Paramount decides to do another Quiet Place that isn't a franchise finale, you're only looking at a $120 million total for the next one. The next one has to be the final one. It will make more than 120 if it's the last Quiet Place movie. In 9th, a film called The Firing Squad, which made about $910,000 this weekend. And rounding out your top 10, as of now, is the re-release of Ponyo, which made $800,000 combined yesterday and today for Fathom Events as part of the year-long Studio Ghibli series. And movies like Bad Boys, Ride or Die, and Fly Me to the Moon from Sony Columbia out of the top 10. Bad Boys added about $500,000. It's at $192.8. Fly Me to the Moon about $300,000. It's only made $20 million. What a shame. Sing Sing, which I thought was going nationwide, but nationwide really isn't just 18 theaters, but that's what it's in right now. It added $173,000. It's at $535. Dee Dee from Focus Features, which is only in its second weekend, went to 47 theaters, added $440,000. It's at $728,000. Dee Dee has already made more money significantly than Sing Sing in half the time. Dee Dee goes nationwide on August 16. It's going to add about 100 or so theaters next weekend. Sing Sing, A24 is going to slowly continue to roll this out, maybe try to let it stay in the conversation into September and into award season, though I do not think it deserves it. We believe that The Fabulous Four is out of the top 10 this weekend. Don't have the money quite yet on Sony Classics film Kneecap, which keeps increasing its buzz. It was in some theaters this weekend, but don't have the money for that quite yet. Did it end up making more than $800,000? We will have to see. This Friday is a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series, TMNT series called Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It premieres Friday on Paramount Plus. My conversation with the co-showrunners of the series is available at lcj.podbean.com as an LCJ Q&A podcast episode, as well as at animationscoop.com. You'll get a new Q&A in a day or two at animationscoop.com as well for an animated film called Sirocco and the Kingdom of Winds. And I talked with the director of that film the other day, and that conversation will be available at animationscoop.com as a nice Q&A coming at you this week. It's an animated film with visuals and depth and emotion, and it's from G-Kids and Fathom Events / G-Kids, putting it out in theaters nationwide for 2 days only. Next Sunday, I believe, the 11th, and next Monday, the 12th. Sunday and Monday. Next Sunday and next Monday for Sirocco and the Kingdom of Winds. You can only see it for 2 days in theaters in North America. I mentioned The Instigators. It's on Apple Friday. On Amazon Prime Video Thursday is One Fast Move, which I have seen. It's the new motorcycle racing drama starring KJ Apa and Eric Dane. I'm embargoed on sharing my opinions on One Fast Move until Wednesday. But look for my thoughts on that on Wednesday. It premieres on Prime Video on Thursday. It Ends With Us is the Blake Lively romance drama based on a popular novel that is going to be in theaters this week. I will be seeing that. And Borderlands is also out. It's the new, oh, it looks bad. Jack Black is in it. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. Kevin Hart, Cate Blanchett. She filmed it before doing Tar. She went from a film that looks bad to an incredible movie, the best movie of 2022 in Tar. So we'll see how Borderlands is. I'm not even sure if I'm going to see it right away. It may be another one like Longlegs where I wait a little while. Cuckoo is also out this Friday. Neon has moved it around the calendar a little bit because, again, Warner Brothers was moving Trap around the calendar a little bit, and so they didn't want them on the same weekend. So Cuckoo, which was originally supposed to be this weekend, is now next weekend. Trap was the opposite. It's Neon with a hit on their hands with Longlegs, and Cuckoo, could it do the same? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to have a right away boom. We got to go see this like Longlegs. Longlegs had that big buzz behind it, those big, comparisons to Silence of the Lambs. Here comes Cuckoo, which could do okay. It could do decent numbers. I do also want to mention, by the way, a film called Dance First, which is out in select theaters Friday, and it goes to digital platforms on August 16. Gabriel Byrne plays Samuel Beckett. It's one of the best films I've seen this year. It is emotional. It's about writers. It's about writing. It's about humanity. It's about forgiveness. It's about regret. It's got a lot going for it. A lot of it's in black and white. Dance First. Select theaters. And then it goes to digital platforms August 16. If you like Gabriel Byrne, it's a must-see. Samuel Beckett's work. A very interesting film and a film I like a lot. In terms of box office for next weekend, Deadpool and Wolverine will probably be number one again. We'll try to make a run at $50 million for its third weekend. And then we could be up for grabs for second place. It Ends With Us could be the Where the Crawdads Sing that Sony Columbia had 2 summers ago. Opened to 17, totaled 90. I thought Fly Me to the Moon was going to go down that path, but that ended up flopping. This could be the one that does that. It Ends With Us could have a $20 million open, could come in second place next weekend and be a surprise late summer drama for adults. And then you've got Borderlands, Eli Roth directing it. I don't know. I don't see it making more than $10 million. I could be wrong, but I don't see that happening. Cuckoo, could do 7 or 8 million, could do less, could do more. It depends on what the buzz and the word of mouth is like midweek and into the weekend as the first people see it. But I would confidently say Deadpool and Wolverine number 1, and probably It Ends With Us number 2. With $20 million, I think it could get there. And then Twisters and Trap will battle it out. You've got the animated and family films as well. Cuckoo and Borderlands in there. It could be a very interesting top 7 or 8 movies for next weekend, which we will discuss next Sunday live at noon Eastern here on LCJ Live, right here on YouTube Live. As always, you can follow me on X, that's at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson, the website lights-camera-jackson.com. I had a great time in Philadelphia for the Phillies-Yankees games that I went to the other day. That was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the Phillies didn't win either game, but you know what? It was a good time to see some summer baseball. Enjoy the summertime. Enjoy the start of August, and hopefully we've got some good movies and It Ends With Us and more. We've got good films in Dance First. I've seen some other stuff that comes out down the line. I'll tell you about when I can, and more. Thank you for watching today's episode of LCJ Live. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time for more. Take care. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Bye-bye.